having a guide, a coach, a mentor connect with you weekly and push you through the fire consecutively is a mind-blowing experience. I've literally moved through things faster than I ever could have imagined. I had to keep coming back to myself. Like, I keep finding a way to navigate back to myself, and like, you know that you're gonna meet that person in a week, so you got a week to let whatever you connected with on that call set in, and whatever fears and anxieties come up, you gotta navigate that, and you gotta find a way to come back to yourself, and you gotta find a way to bring up that creative expression of the work that you connected with in each week. So there's that looming deadline too, that gives you a whole different layer of commitment that I've never experienced before. It's intense and beautiful all in one, because not only are you moving up levels fast, moving through fear energy fast, have the support if you need to reach out, helping you bust through these limiting belief, these fears, these next levels, being stretched. But then you also have fears and anxieties on top of, like, making deadline, paying for this, orchestrating that. It's a wild ride. And just got to keep bringing yourself home. I think through that process, you learn how to be in the discomfort in a whole different level. I'm finding ways of coming back to myself, like keeping it lighthearted. Sometimes I'll get lost in the emotions of it. Sometimes I'll get lost in the fear. Sometimes I'm like, but then, you just keep trusting that what you need to come through you will come through you. Keep trusting in yourself. You keep trusting in spirit. You keep coming back to feeling good about making the choice of being in a container with a guide, a coach, a mentor. Because there are times when fear and anxiety come up and you pinpoint them as the source of your discomfort and you get pissed off at them. It's happened to me several times. And I've learned to just know that that is a perception shift that I'm experiencing, because as those layers shed off, they're the person who's poked those places. And so naturally, you're going to think they're the problem. And so there's just it's like shifting timelines really fast, and having to keep yourself coming back to your center, releasing the energy, staying in the flow, letting go, trusting and believing over and over again, like really close together. And, there's been some doubts creeping in. I'm like, my God, am I made for this? Hell yes, I am. I have a mission. I have a purpose. I don't want to waste any more time not doing it. Somehow, some way, I just tell myself I'm going to find a way through it. Spirit's going to guide me. Great Spirit's going to lead me. I'm going to move through the fire. And I keep myself motivated. I keep finding a way to move through each step. It's uncomfortable. But when you continually move through that discomfort, the eye-awakening, beautiful gifts and gems that come up are very, very rewarding. And then you just keep reminding yourself why you're doing it. You keep sinking into your mission, your purpose, and reminding yourself the stretch is what is helping you get to the next level. The stretch is what's opening you up for the new. Stretch is bringing you through the old stuff to make room for the new. It's got a purpose, and you just keep moving through it. Keep moving through it. Keep birthing the next revolution. Keep coming home back to yourself. Keep finding a way to do it and have fun doing it. Keep pulling yourself out of the fear, out of the anxiety. Keep letting yourself know that those perceptions of fear and anxiety are illusions. Just keep praying that each thing that you have fear and anxiety about, that the universe helps you find a way to clear it, to move through it, so you can go in there and do it. Yeah. And you know that you have to make that deadline because you've got somebody that's holding you accountable. Granted, you know, if you really have a slip up and you just can only get done what you can get done, it's going to be okay. But when you have that accountability, you're like, I have this goal and it's important that I keep that goal and I want to do this. So I'm going to push through that. I'm going to stay on task. I'm going to make sure that I'm moving through at the rate that I want. The rate of shifting is important, that you move with urgency so you can move towards your goal with a sense of urgency. Obviously not to where you're like stressing yourself out extremely, just enough to put a little bit of pressure there, just a little bit. I know too much pressure can feel overwhelming and sometimes we just won't even move. I could be the same. If I have too much pressure and I feel too like, up in here, I might shut down. So you don't want to get to that point. You just want a little bit, you know, and you know your capacity. Maybe you just need a day or two to sit with it before you can realize if this is too much or not. But you will definitely learn about how you move through these trying energies and keep a hold of yourself. You know, because it can get aggravating, it can get annoying, you can be on edge a little bit, especially when you're moving through the fire. And then once you come out on the other end, that's, you know, where all the beauty happens, but you gotta be pushed into that dark corner a little bit to make that movement. And I've really been learning how to live in the present moment too, like never before. Like, I've had that concept in my mind for a long time, but being present now more than ever is really important because you always know there's going to be that next level looming for you or there. But sitting in the present moment and letting that go for like a day that you spend with your family or friends and just letting that go is where your subconscious is probably really doing the most important work, is when you have prayed, you've asked the questions, you've done the journaling, you know, you've worked yourself through it, and then you let it go and let the energy do its magic. And then, you know, you come back to it in a day or two, and then you can realize now you can maybe move through some fear, or maybe you can take some action that you couldn't do before. But it's powerful. It's powerful. And it will bring you up against your edges when it comes to how you take in and process information. I'm learning reading and having outlines and knowing what I'm going to have to move through next. Like taking some of the guesswork out for the next few steps really helps me just let it wash over me, let it settle in. And so I can work through that fear, I can work through that anxiety and accept it and then move on into it. But sometimes it's just initially gotta let that energy percolate and then allow it to move through, and then be like, okay, I'm ready to take the step. We all move through it a little bit differently. You learn a lot about yourself on this process. And new ways of seeing the world open up for you, and then you see where your weaknesses are too. You see where your learning style has maybe a deficit and where you're going to have to pick up for that. Where you're going to have to make sure that you get extra training or a little bit more studying on or whatnot. You get to learn how to do things differently to help keep you going. And I look forward to seeing how, you know, many beautiful things I can move through in such a fast time. This is quantum leaping for sure. I know there's going to be a certain point that I hit once I move through this. Right now I'm laying the foundations and I'm learning my ideal client and like my outcome and like my messaging and all that stuff, and it's really deep. But once I get past that, I know that like things are going to go. So I'm working on not putting too much pressure on myself to go faster, because I know sometimes when you lay a new foundation, getting to know work, getting to know yourself, getting to know what you can do, how you can speak it to the world, takes a little bit of nurturing and questioning and journaling and moving energy through and asking your soul like to bring forward the fruits of what you're gonna be, you know, really embodying to move forward. I am very strong in my craft, my shamanic energy, the energy healing part, but the messaging and the communicating from 5D to 3D is a place where I get to strengthen my skills. I'm learning about it. I'm learning how to pay attention to where I can translate that. I'm learning how to translate that. I'm learning how to speak that logical 3D to the people that I'm going to connect with, that I'm going to work with, that so they know what I do. And before, it was just like in my head and I didn't really know. I mean, I knew I needed to like, you know my outcome and like know how to message to people, get my message out. But like, that's where a lot of my fear and anxiety came from working through this work, is that deficit of not knowing it. Like when I get on this video, I know a theme I'm going to talk about, I feel confident about it, and I riff on it. So that's just the same thing here. I'm learning how to understand and know it so I can just riff on it like it's no big deal as well. But that's a foundation that I need to anchor in and learn, just like learning any new skill. And once I get it down, then, you know, that's going to make things a lot easier for me to move through the next levels. But getting that foundation down is pretty important. So, well, I think that's about all I got. But I really appreciate you being on this journey with me and listening. If you got any questions about, you know, being in a mentorship, working with a coach, working with a guide, like weekly, I'd love to answer the questions, because this is a wild experience, and I would recommend it for people who really want to move up and want to be pushed, like they have this yearning and need to move faster, because you can do this transformational work and push yourself to your goals by yourself. Some people can just be machines and do that without any help fast, but a lot of us just need a little bit of hand holding, a little bit of extra, like, hey, little poke, just a little poke and a little structure goes a long way. All right, till the next video, love and laughter.